G'day guys, and welcome to Body Science Live. My name is Clinton Hill, strength and conditioning coach, master's degree qualified at human biomechanics as well. Guys, today we're going to go through a whole bunch of stuff. We've noticed a lot of stuff on the net and also within our own networks that talks about a lot of the high intensity style training, a lot of high reps, a lot of lower weight stuff, and what we wanted to do today is go through some of the options that we have available to actually looking at programming for lean muscle and strength. Okay, now one of the secrets to what we're going to talk about today is utilizing a couple of things that I've written down on the board here: tempo, time under tension, isometric training, some volume, and utilizing recovery to make sure that we're in a position that we can gain the things that we're looking to gain, or maintain the things that we've talked about and grown over the last few years. So firstly, where this topic comes from is obviously we're seeing a lot of workouts on Instagram, Facebook, etc., all of which are fantastic, getting people out, getting moving, getting on with it. But also we need to find ways to keep going with the gains that we've made, keep going with the strength, keep going with the mass gain or the lean muscle mass that we're trying to keep on with our athletes, our clients, and our friends and family. So what I wanted to talk about today, and we're going to start with tempo training. The first thing in tempo training is to give a quick definition of what tempo actually is. So tempo is the time that you move through the movement. So if we're doing a squat and I say it's 3 seconds, that's 3 seconds on the way down. And then I say 1 second pause at the bottom, then 3 seconds back up, 1 second pause at the top. So 3 down, 1 pause, 3 up, 1 pause. So therefore, we've got an 8-second tempo for the entire lift. Now that becomes time under tension. We'll come to that in a moment, okay? So what we're looking at there is previously, if you did a 1-1, so you'd be moving much faster, you'd be drop down, back, straight up, 1 second down, 1 second up, no pauses, no control of the actual speed that we're looking to go through that. Now there is a purpose to that when you've got some big weight on your back if we're doing a squat. But if we're looking at only having 20 kilos, 10 kilos, a drum with 5 kilos of weight in it, we're holding on our front, whatever the case may be, we've got to look at the alternatives. We've got to look at a way to maintain that lean muscle mass and keep things rolling along. So what we're looking at there, and what I really like to think about, is actually working through the time under tension that you've been utilizing previously. So let's say we're doing a 1-1 tempo in the gym with 100 kilos on our back, okay? If it's 1-1 down, that's 100 kilos down once, 100 kilos back up, and we're done, okay? That's 1 rep. If we're trying to match that or marry that, we just take the time of the set and actually run through how we're doing the squat currently. So if we've got 20 kilo dead ball, a 20 kilo drum, whatever the case may be, we're reducing that weight, but we can increase the tempo or change the tempo to give us the result we're looking for. So slowing that tempo down in short means that we're looking at putting greater tension on the muscle through that movement. Now, there are some things about tempo that you need to know. It's not something that we should utilize, period, okay? That slow tempo builds muscle, yes, but it slows down the central nervous system. So we do need the other type of tempo, which is the explosive type of movement, where we're firing up our central nervous system and giving it that plyometric, that squat jump target or a box jump or something along those lines to keep type A and type B muscle fibers firing throughout this process, because we need both types to grow muscle, to keep our lean muscle mass maintained, okay? So with tempo, I want you to understand we need to utilize 2 different types. So we might go a lower weight for a central nervous system fire up program where we're doing that plyometric jumping style movement, which is great. And we're going to do a slow load, long load process. So for example there, if we've got a 20 kilo ball in front of us, right? I might do 8 reps with a 3 down, 1 pause, 3 up, 1 pause tempo, but then drop that ball and fire up the central nervous system by doing 2 or 3 explosive squat jumps, touch the ground and fire up and really drive through that ceiling. Once you get past about 5 reps on that, the central nervous system starts to slow down just a touch. So we're not looking to do that, okay? So that's tempo-based training for you guys. that can be a really fantastic way to maintain lean muscle mass through this period and to continue those strength gains that you've got. Now, the next part of that, as I said, is talking about time under tension. Now, the cool part about time under tension for me is it's the total amount of time that you're under tension for, okay? Now, it's very simple. There are a whole bunch of different ways you can do this, but you can actually calculate how much time each of your sessions you're actually under that force or under that load, okay? So again, using the tempo-based model, we can calculate the time with that squat to get to that particular point. Now, the interesting part about time under tension is there are pros and cons around each different type of time under tension, okay? The first one obviously being that we're looking at how that tension relates to the goals that we have set for ourselves. If I'm a beach sprinter and I want to get fast and fire up, okay, I need to do a lot more of that central nervous system, powerful movements, jumping, bounding, leaping, hopping, whatever it may be. But if I'm someone who's looking to maintain that muscle mass that I've built over the last few years and use this period to really consolidate those gains, it's definitely something that we want to look towards at having a longer time under tension, okay? So I think realistically for me, there is a way to utilize both types of training, and you might do it with what's called a Louis Simmons conjugate style method. So Louis Simmons from the Westside Barbell uses what's called a conjugate method for programming, which means day one would be maximal strength, day two will be maximal power, day three will be maximal endurance, etc., etc. You can also do that in your programming. We can actually utilize how things work by doing things on different days, so you can get that volume and that difference and that point of, I guess, change and adaptation to your training processes. All right, so the third point we're going to go through here today is isometric holds. Now, isometric training is nothing new. It's something that's been around for a long, long period of time, and something that I utilize at the back end of a lot of my training programs. I've also utilized it a lot in outdoor sessions because you don't need a lot of equipment. Okay, by the way, the other two methods, you can also get away with not a lot of equipment as well. So don't think about this as something that you must have 25 different weight plates and 3 different types of barbells and, you know, all of these different types of resistance bands. With that time under tension, you may be able to get away with 2 dumbbells. You may be able to get away with a ball, something that you can utilize to get those different things. You've just got to be creative with how you go about that process. Now, back to the isometric holds. One of the key factors around that isometric hold that I really love is being able to utilize different pieces of the lift. So let's say, for example, that we're trying to do, we're going to do an isometric squat hold, okay? There's several different places you can hold that squat for a different purpose, okay? You can hold it right at the bottom. You can hold it midway at, let's say, at 90 degrees, your knees at 90 degrees, or you can hold it just above there. You can do all 3 if you wish, okay? The beauty of isometric holds and isometric style training is you get the ability to charge the muscle with a longer time under tension, okay? So I was demonstrating to a good friend and client yesterday how you could do an isometric bicep curl. Grab hold of your bed and hold the bottom of that bed for a certain period of time. Fire up those biceps. There are so many different areas here. You can do the same with a chair and pulling out to get the delts. There are so many different methods here. It's just you got to be a little bit more creative to understand these things and really get through it. There's a beautiful exercise called an inverted row where you can just use 2 chairs, lay back, hold up, and pull yourself to that particular piece of those 2 chairs, right? You can put a piece of wood across there, a broomstick, anything you wish to pull yourself up and get that hold. So we can get back, we can get legs, we can get arms, we can get shoulders, we can get the whole body done in that method. And it's a really, really nice way, even if you just want to add it to the end of a workout, just to finish off that body part and really work through that and get then to be able to maintain those gains. All right, so volume's been talked about a lot. Now, what I've seen, especially on some of the workouts, is these really, really high volume sessions where you're using a light weight for a huge number of reps. That's one type of volume. But the thing that I want you to all understand is 100 kilos moved once equals 100 kilo total volume. 1 kilo moved 100 times still equals 100 kilos of volume. okay? So we need to remember and understand that by increasing those reps, and this is a very simple explanation, guys, but by increasing those reps, we can still get to that same volume, but we might have to find different ways around that. That's where that volume becomes a really interesting thing. And this is an amazing opportunity for all of the body science followers to actually be able to get their head around how volume can work for you. Now, what I want to just finalize on that volume piece before I move into one of my favorite topics, which is recovery, is that the volume that you currently have, you should be able to find by adding up some of those weights that you've done in the gym. Okay, so you should be able to replicate it. That may take a little longer. It may take some real definite creativity to find methods around that, but it's definitely a possibility for all of us, okay? So guys, the last piece and one of the most interesting and favorite parts of what I do as a strength and conditioning coach is recovery protocols. So I give all of my athletes targets around how many points they need to achieve in a week. Now, I give each of different areas a certain number of set points. This is not a new task. Many strength and conditioning coaches around the world use this method, and it works amazingly well, especially for the online guys. So I'm going to post a little PDF there, but please, you can download, utilize. You can make some changes to it if you wish. If you're a strength and conditioning coach or a personal trainer out there, please utilize this. I'm more than happy to allow people to see what I do. But what I wanted to just quickly run through are 5 or 6 of my really key points on here. First one is doing things in this period like yoga and breath work can change and utilize the time to get you to the results that you want down the track. We talked before about periodization and where things fit into the grand scheme of things. This is an opportunity time for us. Okay? It's a really great chance to get some of the things into our training that we haven't been able to include before. So breath work, ice baths, hot cold showers, those contrasting showers work really amazingly well. So what I've been telling people to do is jump on and have a look at the Wim Hof breathing method. It's fantastic. You can utilize some of that stuff. Please be careful with it. Just make sure that you've got someone around you while you're doing that so that you can utilize each other and make sure that it's nice and safe. The ice baths are another massive favorite of mine. I've been using these with my athletes for about 20 years. And I myself still use them on a weekly basis, also to help with the immunity and control some of the anxieties that we have in society today. My obvious favourites are compression garments. I make all of my athletes wear upper and lower, depending on what they've trained. If someone's a rugby player, I always make sure that they're wearing both because they will have taken deep impacts to the body while they're playing or training, but also for the purpose of what we're looking for now, this gives us that extra element of recovery to really get through the volume and be able to be ready to train the following day. And of course, guys, if your beach is open, unluckily here in Maroubra in Sydney, my beach is closed at the moment. So guys, if you have a beach open, obviously it's a great time to get into the ocean, maintain your social distancing and be mindful of others. Don't hang around down at the beach too long. Get in, get out, get your 10 minutes in the ocean. That salt water is fantastic for your body, great for muscle recovery. And then the last thing, and definitely not the least, is maintain your stretching regime and increase your foam rolling at the moment. We've got some more time on our hands, so it's definitely an opportunity to get those things underway. Now, I'm just going to finish off, as I did earlier this week, with a couple of little products that I wanted to discuss, and these are both around recovery, but I also was mindful of obviously looking at the current situation with COVID. So the 2 products that I'm just going to quickly talk about are the Body Science protein balls and the low carb protein bars. Both fantastic products. And the reason that I want to talk about both of these, they both store really well. So if we are going to go, or if you're already in stage 4 lockdown, you can order both of these online. Woolies, Coles, you can also go through obviously the Body Science website, but please just make sure that we definitely get the opportunity to look into those products because they store really well. Most of those have been able to sit in your cupboard for over a year, and they still taste absolutely fantastic after that period of time. So guys, thanks again to Body Science. Thanks again to everyone for listening out. Looking forward to being on live again next Tuesday and Saturday. So again, thanks very much. Keep up the good work, and any questions, please fire them away to Body Science Facebook page. Thanks very much, guys. Have a great weekend.